This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hey, and welcome to Third Eye View. Well, I have a really, really special guest this time. I was going to say old-time friend, but we're not old, are we, Richard?
Absolutely not. Growing old and getting old are two different things.
That's right. But a very long time, very dear, dear friend, Richard Ravenhawke. We go back, it's going to be about 35, 40 years.
Well, I was going to say, I've been doing this stuff for going on 42 years, and it's been at least 35 of them.
Yeah, easy. Because you had a show, Psychic Dimensions.
Yeah. Niagara Peninsula, Grimsby. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the very first time that I was ever on TV.
Oh, man, my hair was down to my waist, and I was skinny like this. And,
oh, we both were. I know.
Yeah.
You were so cute. I had a real crush on you back then.
Hey, I still have a crush on you now, so whatever.
One of the things I want to say about that show, because I learned something from you that night on that show that I have carried with me, and it's something that I bring into my readings even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the show, it was like people could call in and ask questions.
Right.
And a man called and he said that you were wrong, that you told him that he was going to meet somebody within a certain frame of time. And
Right.
he hadn't met anybody yet. And you sat quiet for a minute. And he went, where do you go? When you get home from work, where do you go? What social things do you do? And he said, well, I don't. He just went home and stayed home. And you said to him, how are you going to meet somebody if you don't go out?
He helps those who help themselves. I didn't say she was going to knock on his door. Jeez.
Exactly. And it really, that stuck with me because it's like, yeah, you have to take action. Just because we can see something happening, if you hide away and don't do anything, it's not going to happen. But that has stayed with me all these years, Richard.
Oh, yeah. It's like expecting to win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. You know?
Exactly. Now, as we've said, like Richard and I really do go back a long way. And we used to do psychic fairs together. Now, you still do psychic fairs, right?
I still do. Currently, I'm working with the Galaxy Circuit. So you can search galaxypsychicfairs.com.
Yeah, well, we had Mira on as a guest.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
He was on, we did the show, what was it, this week? Last week? It won't, I'm not sure when it's going to be aired.
Oh, okay.
Like it hasn't been aired yet, but it's one of the reasons that, with you and I today, I want to talk about psychic fairs. And because I know some of the stories. Like,
oh no! Did you tell him you knew me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you bet I did. And I've talked to a few others from Galaxy. I've got a few of them on as guests, like coming on in the future. And absolutely. So Richard Ravenhawke. And if they say no, I said, well, you're not very good then.
Well, I am careful who I associate with, so.
Yeah. And Richard is one of the best. He really is. And you do, I know this isn't something that you can do on the show, but you do past life regressions on the soles of people's feet.
Absolutely. If you take a look at the sole of your foot, especially if you have a flashlight,
yeah,
okay, you're going to see a whole world pop up. Boom. There's like 10 times the lines that are on the palms.
Oh, wow.
And that's because the soles are our past life. It's the only physical way to do it. I could tell you were an Indian on a horse, but prove it. or even
They get
past life,
that detailed.
right, or even past life regressions, like your dreams come from the subconscious. They're not real, right? How do
Exactly.
you know, right? Like there's always a shadow of a doubt somewhere or something that can be argued. The lines on the body don't lie.
No, they
And
don't.
we were born with them. They were written on us before we were
Yeah.
born.
Yeah.
And if you go to my Facebook, you'll see a whole album of examples. I've got 200-300 examples on there.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. And it's never the same twice. And I actually don't have to be psychic to do it because the lines are the lines. It's just interpreting. And I could do it till the cows come home. And people are always amazed. They're always saying, no way. And one of the first pictures, if you go to my album,
Uh-huh.
is a boyfriend girlfriend team that I did, and there's a rocket ship right on the bottom of his foot. And his girlfriend sitting beside me, she's like, "Holy cow, you've got a rocket ship on your foot." And he looks at me, he says, "I've never told anybody this, not even you." He pointed to her. He said, "But ever since I was like yay high, every night I dream about being in space." I said, "Well, it's on your foot." And he sat there with this dumbfounded look, right? And people get amazed all the time.
Oh, I'll have to get a flashlight and take a look at Russ's feet.
Yeah,
See
absolutely.
on
Or,
here.
even better yet, invite a certain psychic over for dinner sometime and I can read the both of you. So
Well, that would be, yeah, but I don't think you ever come this way, do you?
I don't
I'm,
know, where are you? You're
I'm over, yeah,
north
but,
of Lindsay.
oh, we're north of Godridge. Right, we're right over on Lake Huron.
I'm going to be doing a home group in St. Mary's in about 2 weeks.
Oh, that's about 2 hours from us.
Yeah, I could skip up after my home group or something. We'll have to talk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'd love to have you over and you can meet our dog. And
Nice.
Brandy is she's a Doberman,
Uh-huh.
a King Doberman. So she's quite big, but she's also very intuitive as are most animals.
Yep.
And I have my dad's he had a glider chair. And after he died, I got it. And every so often she'll go up to it, gives it a push, gives it a rock, walks away.
Hmm.
Sometimes she'll just walk past it. Sometimes she'll start to walk past it, turn around, go back, and give it a little push. Yeah.
Yes, no one will ever love you like your dog.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you would love this house. We have a lot of spirit in here.
Nice.
It's an old house. It was built in 18, roughly 1876. So mid to late 1870s. And when it was first built, it was built as the rectory for the Anglican Church.
Okay.
And there is an awful lot of spirit activity in this house. Um, I
Well,
had,
go ahead.
I had a paranormal team here, and we were filmed it for Third Eye View, and that Matt had the camera set up, and the base actually moved about 6 inches. You could see it move. And
Nice.
at night there was a white mist that came down the stairs and went into the kitchen and then just disappeared. And they've got it on film. So
Here's
here.
here's a story. I did because at the psychic shows, I tell them I don't do mediumship. I don't like doing it in a public venue, And as a matter of fact, I prefer to avoid it if I can.
Yes.
But I actually recently got tested by two professors at York University, and they had me travel around to different art galleries and do readings on the haunted pieces. And they knew the stories and stuff, and so I'm now permanently part of the York University archive as a historical figure, like accredited medium.
Yeah.
But I tell everybody I don't do it. But I was doing this seance for a friend at a church in Hillsburg, Ontario. It was an old church, and apparently it was very haunted. And I guess the original pastor, 1800s, wasn't the most savory of characters, we'll say, and so it was really, really interesting after the seance, and some really neat things came through. They were taking pictures all around the church while we were doing it. And the photographer calls me over. He says, "This is really crazy. You've got to see this." While we were conducting the seance, every single window in the church had a perfect question mark and right in the middle of it. Same place, same.
Ooh.
And it was only while we were doing the seance.
Yeah.
So it was neat, but I for the record, I don't do mediumship. So
I know what you're saying though. Like I will, if somebody comes to the house, I will do some mediumship at the house. But I don't like doing it in public.
yeah, you're like me. It's easier to play stupid,
Yeah, it really is. Well, the thing is, you don't know who's going to come through.
No, and people have expectations, and if somebody wants a specific person to come through, you can channel through anybody and their brother. But if that one specific person doesn't come through, you're a crap medium. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe, and people come with all kinds of expectations, and I just can't deal. I just don't like dealing with it.
No. Well, one of the things that I'll say to people is if they want me to channel through to someone is, well, look, I will try, but there's no guarantees because one, they may be off doing something else and don't want to be bothered. They may have nothing to say to you right now. Maybe they don't want to talk because it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about them too.
Right.
And I mean, I've seen that happen.
All the time. So I just, at the shows, I'm just a psychic,
Yeah. And that's the best way. I remember years ago, remember David Lafort, right?
Yeah. He did the shoe readings. I remember that was really unique about him. Yeah.
David and I were both taught to do shoe readings. And our teacher taught us how to read the lines on your lips. Now, David really followed through on that. I didn't because there was too much memory work. And for me, it's just easier to do it with psychometry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, but anyway, I remember David and I really, people would come up, "Are you a medium? Are you a medium?" And I mean, David and I, both of us can be a bit of a smart ass at times. And we just started turning around to people and saying, "No, we're not medium, we're extra large." Well, didn't we both become an extra large?
Hey, being a smartass is a lot better than being a dumbass. Never forget that.
Well, that's true too. So, what are some of the shows that you've got coming up?
Well, we've got Belleville, Ontario this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. Although I know of one for sure, but I've heard there might be up to like 5 other psychic things going on in town that weekend. Lately there's been a lot of parasite groups that have popped up, and so they try and piggyback off of other people's advertising and stuff like that, and local little spiritualist groups, and so it doesn't always affect the fair in a big way, but sometimes it affects the show. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, that's good. Now you travel across Canada, is that right?
Absolutely, every year from pretty much from St. John's, which is in Newfoundland, to BC.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Eastern circuits I do on stuff I do on my own, but Ontario to BC is Galaxy.
Okay. But talking about psychic fairs, I as I had mentioned before, I know we both have some good stories. What are some of your favorite memories from psychic fairs way back?
Oh, working with Lynn Stevenson, number one.
Yeah. Except it wasn't Lynn Stevenson back then.
No, it wasn't. That's how long we've known each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I just went by Mary Lynn back then.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think memories. Well, of course, there's been some of my favorite psychics to work with. There's been some awful strange experiences. Like I read for a lady once in New Liskeard, Ontario, who was 56 and pregnant. And, 20 years ago, she had a total hysterectomy, showed me the scar and everything. And here she is pregnant at 56. Northern doctors, go figure. She doesn't know what the heck they took out of her.
Yeah.
But here she is pregnant at 56, right?
That's something.
And, just things like that. And, I've read for, you read for everybody. You read for cops, you read for criminals. Like everybody comes to you.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
God, years ago, I was at a party. It was a psychic party, but it was a regular party going on as well. And the group that were there were a little notorious, shall we say. they weren't quite on the up and up. And oh God, Richard, the things that were coming through. And I'm like, now I really don't know what I'm talking about. I thought, oh God, I don't want to end up with a pair of cement shoes at the bottom of the lake.
Yep. Oh yeah, you read for everybody, literally.
Oh, you do. But some of the psychics that have come and gone. Remember Nelson Guyette?
I remember Nelson. There's a couple of stories about him that I don't know if I should tell, but
him and Maureen Collins. Maureen didn't like him at all.
No, and Maureen is still a very good friend of mine. As a matter of fact, I was talking to her on the phone last week.
Oh, how is she doing?
Good. I'm going to pick her up for a day. We're going to go visit David Bellin in London.
Oh, wonderful. But anyway, her and Nelson didn't really get along. And if she was reading, he would go over to her table on purpose and he'd start looking at her papers and moving things around just to annoy her. And he phoned her. He phoned her one time. He disguised his voice. And he said that, he had really heard so many good things about her. And his name was Count Alucard. Well, Alucard is Dracula backwards. He was a bugger, that one. He really
Nelson would do something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And
Nelson found $10,000 US one time. He used to have this weird thing that he'd drive around and he'd look for abandoned farmhouses.
Yeah.
And found one in New York. And, they went back at 2, 3 in the morning. They went into it. And he was knocking around the walls in one of the closets and he hit this hollow spot. He broke it open. There was $10,000 US in it.
Oh, wow.
Different. Yeah. He was like really, really, it was just a strange hobby, but I'll never forget him coming to me at the show saying, Rich, you'll never guess what.
And Ted Silverhand. And because afterwards, like after the show, a group of us, we'd go out for dinner. Remember that? And
it was beautiful days. Yeah.
Oh, they were. And we'd go to different places for dinner, like as a group. And that is where sort of everyone just kind of let their hair down. And it was like, we had fun, we relaxed. And I have told this story before, but Ted offered me 5 horses for Melissa's hand in marriage to his son.
Ted would do that.
I know. But,
Ted was also Tuscarora, and the Tuscaroras do that. They still arrange their marriages.
Yeah. And again, an excellent psychic.
Yeah.
He really was. And, but with Nelson, I remember one time we were doing a fair in St. Catharines, and I was living in Thorold at the time. So both Nelson and David ended up staying at my place rather than get a hotel. So the next morning, David went in, like we all went together, but David went in ahead of us And he said, well, I don't know where those other two are. He said, they weren't at home this morning. I don't know where they are. So Nelson and I, we waited about 5 minutes and we walked in arm in arm. Boy, I'll tell you, did we get tongues wagging.
I can imagine.
I mean, of course we did it on purpose, right? Just to have some fun. But we did things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I used to, with Stan and Ray shows, we used to do a lot of talk, like we'd get up and talk on things. And I would talk about ghosts. And I remember, and it was at the show in St. Catharines, and there was one chair in particular, no one could sit in it.
Right.
Yeah, whenever they tried to sit in it, they'd get pushed off.
Wow.
Yeah. So it certainly gave credibility to my talk.
Nelson was a spiritualist minister from New York.
Yeah.
And I think his church was in Plattsburgh or something like that.
Something.
But anyway, he used to do the spiritualist thing quite often as well.
Yeah, I've got a certificate somewhere from him.
He used to do that.
I know he did.
Nelson was a rebel, right?
Oh, he was. And
if you gave him a couple $100, he'd give you your spiritualist.
Yeah. Well, he didn't even charge me.
Nice.
No, he just gave it to me, and I thought, well, it's not worth the paper it's written on, I don't think. But
but a lot of the older school psychics, you've got to question them as to where they got their credentials, because if it was from Nelson, chances are they did nothing to, they just gave him his $100.
Yeah. But the way I figure it, and I knew at the time it really wasn't worth much, but it was a keepsake.
Absolutely. It's like buying a share of Brie X for $10 ever on the internet so you can frame it,
Yeah. And I'm Reverend Mary Lynn.
Yeah. As long as you're not, falsely advertising it or whatever,
Exactly.
But you did something for a novelty. It was fine.
And it was fun. But there were a lot of good people. And Bruce Meyer.
Oh yeah. Bruce and I had the same birthday.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bruce Meyer, myself, and Stephen Welling. We were all February 3rd.
Oh.
Or maybe it was Shirley. It was one of the two. But
okay. Well, that's interesting. That's good. And now we're going to. We've got a few more minutes, and then we'll take a short break. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some just general predictions.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah, because, Richard, everything is so messed up right now in the world.
It's it's a crazy world for sure.
Oh boy, is it ever. And
so it got into the hands of millennials. Sorry, just my opinion.
Hey. Yeah, and baby boomers are getting all the blame for everything that's going on.
Oh yeah.
But our prime minister.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about that because I'm Gen X, right? But
okay, see, I am a boomer, but our prime minister is not a baby boomer.
No, he's not a boomer. He's a bummer.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. Don't go away, and when we come back, we will have some predictions for you.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
We invite you to play What's My Line?
Welcome, Mrs. Baker. Those folks over there need to guess your extraordinary occupation.
Are you an entertainer, Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Do people come to watch you perform?
Yes. Do you travel for work? Yes, I do.
Do you ever wear a special type of costume?
Yes.
Is your job, physical?
Yes, indeed.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Are you a professional baseball player?
Yes, I am.
Created during the Second World War, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League included 68 Canadians. One of its brightest stars was my mother, Saskatchewan's Mary Bonnie Baker, a pioneer for women in sports.
Unbelievable. You just never see that. What a shot. Scores! The OHL on Rogers TV.
So,
Okay, and welcome back. Here we are. So, Richard, let's talk about some general predictions for next year. Now, I haven't put any thought into it yet, but that's not going to be difficult to do. Let's take a look at the political scene.
politics, it's actually one of those things that's funnier than fiction.
Uh-huh.
It's the Latin word poly, P-O-L-I, means many. It's like polydent, more than one tooth, or polygamy, more than one wife, right?
Yeah.
Poly means many, and ticks are blood-sucking creatures. So polyticks, many blood-sucking creatures. It's funnier than fiction when you put it together.
That's good. And
Yeah.
isn't it the truth?
It is.
It really is. Do you see Trudeau stepping down?
I've heard rumors because, of course, my son's a Trudeau. You knew that.
Yes, I do.
His mom, her grandfather, and Pierre Trudeau were brothers. So, yeah, I've heard a couple things here and there. Some are saying that he's planning on. Unfortunately, my son is half me, which makes him cool.
That's
But yeah, I've heard rumors that he's planning on stepping down just before the next election.
okay.
Because he's losing popularity like crazy, and there's a good chance the Liberal Party could be eliminated.
Yes.
I remember, what year was it? Back in the 90s, they had that election, and the PCs only ended up with 2 seats. They were almost wiped out.
Yes.
I can see the same thing happening to the Liberals.
Yeah.
Like they're losing all their strongholds, and they're, so I think he wants to? No. I think he's an egotistical maniac, in my opinion, which I'm entitled to,
Absolutely. And I agree with you, Richard.
Yeah. But, will the party deem it favorable for him to? Like, it's probably a political decision if he does step down.
Yeah.
But I've heard rumors that he will, and I could see him. You see, it's hard to tell because it's so close to the election. It's hard for me to tell if I see him stepping down
or
if I
just
see him
getting
being obliterated. Yeah, like either way, he's not going to be in office.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I have tried to focus on him stepping down, and I do have a hard time seeing it, especially now. I don't think he's going to step down this year. Again, like you say, too much ego.
Yeah.
And he blames everybody else. There's no accountability.
Well, that's very narcissistic behavior, but it's also psychopathic behavior too.
Yes.
Because psychopathy is the lack of conscience.
Yeah.
So there's actually many top Fortune 500 companies that test for psychopathy before they hire their upper management, because they find people with psychopathy can make better decisions for the company without worrying about how it's going to affect people down the chain.
Oh.
So he's probably part of the reason he got in to start with, but no, that's very psychopathic as well as narcissistic behavior.
Now, a visual, excuse me, that I have had with Trudeau. Well, I've had this for the past couple of years, and nothing's happened yet. And I honestly hope to God it doesn't, because I wouldn't wish this on anybody. But I see him standing. He's got his dark suit on. I think it's a white shirt, pink tie or a red tie. And I see a blood stain, a blood spot come on his, just below his shoulder, right here.
Well,
And,
that's, yeah, I don't know. That's better than me because I can't get beyond a monkey washing a cat. So,
okay. Yeah. But that is, and I've seen that for a couple of years now. So I don't know if it's symbolic of something. And of course, right now, a lot of his cabinet, stabbing him in the back, could
well,
be.
exactly. It can be metaphoric as well as literal, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I do believe that the way people are reacting to him now literally is stabbing him in the heart.
Yeah.
But metaphorically, you know what I mean? Because
I do.
in his mind, everybody loves him,
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you see for next year, for 2025?
For 2025, now the election is next year, isn't it?
The Canadian election is next year. Yes.
Yeah, 2025.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think it's going to continue following the current trend, which is a PC with an NDP and Bloc Québécois kind of resistance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think that the Liberals are going to have a major play.
No.
It's going to be interesting to see Quebec in there as one of the big three. It's like anything. There'll be some good, there'll be some bad. It doesn't matter who you get in office. Nobody's going to be perfect.
Well, they're not.
But I think this is the first time that I can remember anyway that it's been a mix-up like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the PCs are going to get in. We really don't know, a lot about Pierre, right? Is it Polyev or something? The PC?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting that Pierre is the guy that's going to get in, and Pierre was Justin's father.
That's right. That's right.
But the, we got to give him a chance at this point because it's one of those rare cases where nobody could do a worse job,
Exactly.
And I really, really do think that if, just on the off chance that Justin did get in, I think this is going to be our last run as Canada,
I do too. Canada's being destroyed.
Yeah. Again, just my opinion that I have, that I'm entitled to, but
yeah,
it's, but also it's what I see, right?
Yeah.
So, no, it's going to be a PC with, PQ, I guess, or however you abbreviate it, resistance.
Yeah.
And I do see major changes coming to our immigration policies.
Good. We need.
So that's good. We need that. And my hopes is that, on the off chance that we don't remain Canada forever, that it's the States that buys us up, because I'd like to be able to move to Florida with no immigration and do everything there. But
well, if Trump gets in, I can see him taking over Canada.
And you know what? People say bad things. People say good things about Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But, one thing is Trump got America working. And he's not a politician, but he is a business person, Made his mistakes like everybody else, but he always seems to bounce back up. He got everybody working, and, he's for that kind of utopian kind of image,
Yeah.
But I don't know much about the female that's in the riding. See, I don't remember her name, and that's a bad sign with me, because whenever I can't remember somebody's name, it means there's something wrong with them. And anybody that knows me well will tell you that throughout the years.
Okay.
So I forget what her name is, but that alone tells me that there's something wrong.
Okay. I can use that as an excuse now then, because I find that I've been losing names, Richard. I know, I mean, faces I've always recognized. And it's like, oh crap, what's your name? I can't remember. So I can just look at it now. Oh, you're up to something bad because I don't remember your name.
Just don't ever forget the name Richard, because I'll have to get you a big T-shirt with my face on it, like the Church of Bob, So
when I told my kids that I was going to have you on, they all said, "Oh, say hi to Richard for us." Their Uncle Richard.
Hey, yeah, that's everybody calls me Uncle Ricky. It's like my name.
Yeah. Now, what about the economy for Canada? Do you see an improvement in Canada's economy?
I see an improvement by 2027. It's going to take a year or two, but I do think but let's face it, things aren't going to go down.
No.
So, if it's $10 for 4 liters of milk now, you can bet in 5 years it's going to be 20.
Absolutely.
But, the changes are going to be, like in the wages and things like that over time.
Yeah.
By 2027, I can see minimum wage being between $20 and $25.
Okay. Well, that's good. And again, going to the immigration, if they can get immigration in control, because we do need immigration, but we have to have the infrastructure for it.
Well, we do. And this is what, the current Bright Bunny is doing. He's bringing, tons of people into Canada, and you see some of them living on the streets.
Exactly. And that's what needs to be fixed, is they need to have a place to live. There needs to be jobs. And I think if you can get that under control, I think that I'm feeling that in itself will help to kind of level things out a little bit.
I think it's going to help level things out. And I also think it's going to help with racism issues.
Oh, I hope so.
You're getting people now that are living on the streets that are seeing the new people come. And, sure, there's some of them living on the streets, but there's others that are being given everything.
That's right. That's wrong.
They're saying, hey, it's racism isn't right on any level.
No.
But, I think that's is definitely going to help alleviate the, some of the issues there.
Yes. The thing, like when we came to Canada back in 1958, my dad came first. There were no government handouts. He came first to make sure that we had a place to live, and he got the job. And then when he was sort of fairly settled, then Mom and I came over. But there were, like I say, there were no handouts back then. You did it from the sweat of your own back.
Yeah, you worked hard for it and you saved, and
Yeah. And I think that's a little bit of what they need to get back to. You want to come to the country, great, but what have you got? What do you have to offer?
Well, one thing I always said, and this is just my own idea, but there's a lot of countries where if you want to immigrate there, you're required to do 2 years mandatory military service,
Ooh.
And I think if they want to come here, they should do exactly like that. They should do 2 years mandatory military service. You want to come live in this country, show that you're prepared to defend it. And, if you're not in shape to go out in the field, take an office position or do something, but do 2 years mandatory military service,
Yeah.
And that's just, my opinion again, I don't know if it'll come to that, but.
Yeah, no, it's true. Now, you are a fan of Bitcoin. I don't understand it, to be being right up front with that. I don't understand all the stuff with Bitcoin, but I know it is something that you have felt very positive about over the years. Are you still feeling that positiveness with Bitcoin?
Absolutely. And let's just say I'm doing very, very well. I'm not touching any of it till I retire, but Bitcoin is what they call a cryptocurrency. It's the original cryptocurrency.
Yes.
So it's the OG, they call it, the original gangster,
Uh-huh.
And So, it's the OG of cryptocurrencies. And myself, I deal mostly in USDT, which is another cryptocurrency. It's directly attached to the US dollar.
Okay.
So it's considered a stable coin. It's always $1 per coin. It never goes up, it never goes down, So any of my investing or futures or things like that I do, it's always in USDT.
Ah.
And, that way I don't have to worry about losing anything and I can convert it anytime.
Yeah.
There's other coins like that too. There's many. Ripple's another good one to look at right now, XRP, because it's one of the most undervalued cryptocurrencies. And it's actually owned by the Rockefellers. A lot of people don't know that. And they're already integrating it into payment systems all across the US. And I think it's somewhere around 80 cents a coin right now. I haven't looked at it in a while though, but it's going to go up to $10,
That's interesting. Climate. I mean, that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much controversy with climate change.
Absolutely.
On a intuitive level, what do you see over the next year or two with climate?
Well, climate change.
It changes. It's cyclical.
Well, it is. And, it's not caused by cow farts. I'm sorry.
No.
Cows have been farting for millions of years, and we've only had problems with our ozone and climate for the last 50. So they can blame it on cow farts all they want, but it's not cow farts.
It isn't. It isn't. Look at big industry. All right. My dad, when we came to Canada, he got himself a job at the St. Lawrence Starch Works in Port Credit, which is now Mississauga. And he was saying, I remember him telling me that there were nights that the lake would literally glow yellow from all the gluten that was being dumped into the lake, right? From the corn.
Oh, yeah. They've got something in the middle of I think it's Lake Ontario. They call it the Blob. And it's literally 3 stories high in the middle of the lake somewhere. And it's just this giant mass of goop. And scientists are afraid to explore it because they don't know what's going to happen.
It's probably from the starch works all those years back. And so, I mean, it's big industry is what they need to look at and what's being put into the air. Like I say, there is climate change is real, but I do feel that you're going to get some common sense. Not next year, maybe by 2028. But I do feel at some point there is going to be some common sense step in, and someone's going to say, "Look, we can't stop it. Let's look at it properly, logically, and what can be done." Never mind big money. What can be done?
Getting back to politics, isn't Polyev, isn't that what he's promoting? He says common sense solution or something.
That's right. Yeah. And that's what we need.
We do.
We really do. The tax, the carbon tax. Sorry, putting tax, that's a gouge. That's not going to change the climate unless they're using it to research, proper research.
Oh, absolutely. But, I question if there is much common sense left anymore either. I mean, they cancel Looney Tunes because Elmer Fudd has a gun. But meanwhile, have you ever taken an honest look at Transformers?
Oh, I know. I know. And it's, I just, I shake my head. I really do, because some of the things that we're not allowed to say anymore and we're not allowed to do.
Oh, I still do them anyway.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And, people seem to have lost their sense of humor.
They do. And it was the day that people stopped laughing that the world went to poo-poo.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if I can hear the F word, so the world went to poo.
And that's why I'm a laughter yoga teacher.
Oh, I've never heard of laughter yoga. What is that?
Oh, it's where you learn how to laugh for no reason.
Okay.
And there's different laughter exercises that we do and that we teach. And it's a 10-minute laughter exercise is equal to a half-hour cardio workout.
Well, and I know that laughing is very good for the abdominal muscles too.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it's wonderful. Dr. Kataria over in England, I believe it was in 1995. I think it was 95 or 96. Anyway, he came up with this idea, and he started with a small group of 5 people in a park in Mumbai in India. And it has grown from there. The yoga part comes in because his wife was a yoga teacher or master, I think she is now. But anyway, that's the breathing part of it. And it's things like ha, ha, ho, 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 ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. And even when you're clapping, it's because the lines on your hands and your fingers, and it's all to do with energy. And there's a lot of things, some of the exercises where you're putting cream on your hands, so you're actually massaging, right?
Correct.
So, and especially down here for anyone who has trouble with carpal tunnel. But oh no, it is, you get people started, and when you go and you're working in a room and you get some people that they just sit there and they absolutely refuse. But within 10 to 20 minutes, they're laughing and they can't help it.
No. Laughter truly is the best medicine,
Oh boy, is it ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I always taught people, because we get these clients at the fairs that ask us about, is somebody cursing me, or this or that or different.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I always tell them, if you can look at that person and, generally laugh, in their face,
Yeah.
and nothing they can do will ever harm you.
That's right. Yeah.
The laughter is such a protection. It's such a blessing. It's healing.
It is. It's positive energy.
Yeah. And even for the body, it tones muscles, for God's sakes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh no. We'll have to get sometime when you're up this way. We'll get you out and come for dinner.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I probably can after St. Mary's. I've also got a Sarnia show coming up in 3 weeks, so I could possibly after Sarnia as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, because I'm staying down that week anyway, because the following weekend I've got my big show in Toronto at the Hyatt. So
yeah, that would be good. Now I have trouble with my back, so I can't stand and cook as much as I used to, but.
It's all good. Just do something you can stick in the oven and it'll do its own thing.
Oh, yeah. That's what I do. But that would be good. And you can look at our feet and I've got a new divination tool that I've created. I'll use that on you.
Oh, yeah. You'll have to show me. I love learning new stuff. Yeah.
And I've actually got an extra set. I'll give it to you. I'll give you one.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah.
After all these years, you're still teaching me.
Well, but isn't that really what it's about, is learning from each other?
Well, it is, and, I find there's a certain element these days that are, this is what I do and I don't want to share it, and different. But
yeah,
I remember back in our day, that's what we all did. So
we did. And Bruce Meyer, when it was slow, we'd go around, we'd do readings for each other. And Bruce and I always read for each other. But Bruce would never let me use my cards on him. He said, nope. He gave me his watch. And that's how I really honed my skills with psychometry.
And, it does make a difference. I tell people that I teach, like when you're reading cards for people, hold something of theirs in in your left hand,
Yeah.
even if you don't know what you're doing. And you're going to find images come clearer and you're going to get,
Yeah.
sure, after 6 months, they put the cards away.
Oh, yeah. And you always use your left hand because your left hand is closest to your heart.
Absolutely. Now, depending on which way I'm seated at a show, sometimes I do have to use my right hand. But it's okay. I've been doing this shit over 40 years, so
yeah,
I'm still going to get impressions and feelings, and it really doesn't make a difference for me, but when you're starting off, definitely the left hand is the best.
Yeah, it really is. And I think the biggest thing for anyone that's learning to do this, I think that one of the hardest things is learning to trust yourself.
Well, it's human nature to second guess ourselves,
Oh, yeah.
But you got to just blurt it out. And, best case, you're going to be right. Worst case, you're going to be wrong. But only God is 100%, blurt out what you're saying.
That's right. I mean, like I've said to so many people, we see possibilities and probabilities. But as an individual, you have that power of choice and decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like that man who stayed home and never went anywhere. So how's he going to meet anybody?
And it really is true. Again, he helps those who help themselves,
Yeah.
He or whoever the universe may be to you, so.
That's right. Yeah. That was something that my dad always said. Like my dad he was not a religious man at all, but he always said that God helps those that help themselves.
Being spiritual and being religious are two different things.
Yes, they are.
There's many, many spiritual people in the world that aren't necessarily religious. And there's many religious people that can be anything but spiritual.
Exactly.
One is what you believe. The other is the way you live.
Yes. Yes. And there's a lot of religious people that are very hypocritical.
Absolutely.
They don't. They don't.
It's the mobster that faithfully goes to church every Sunday.
That's right. Well, yeah, I think we've got about 5 minutes left. Mark usually lets me know. Oh, here he is. Yeah, look at that. 5 minutes. I just got a message from him. Boy, that's good for timing, isn't it?
Yeah. 5 more minutes with you. Lucky me.
Oh, and I get another 5 minutes with you.
Well, we can talk like this. We've known each other over 40 years.
Yeah, we have.
Over 35 anyway. I'm not sure 40, but somewhere around there.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to think how old. Now, Nicole, the oldest, she has just turned 48. So I would say probably, and I know she was older than 8 when we met, I think. Well, maybe not. Maybe she was 10.
We'll say 37 years, give or take.
About 37 years. And Melissa, she turned 44 this year. They're getting older there, Richard.
Hard to believe.
Yeah.
I still remember those bright-eyed little girls, and I was showing them magic tricks and all kinds of different.
I know. And Mike, he's 46 now. And remember, he used to help Stan and Ray with everything and packing stuff up. And
yeah, it's time flies.
Oh, it does. It really does. But it's been good years.
Absolutely.
It really has. And I think that this is, right now, not everybody, of course, but for a lot of people, the majority of people, times are tough. They really are. And I think, when you focus on the hard times, when you focus on just the tough times, I think you attract more of that to you. And find the positive. With something that Russell has always said is that with every negative, there is a positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and finding that positive and focusing on that. I think it doesn't fix everything. It doesn't necessarily make it better, but I think it helps you get through it better.
The example I always use is two sides of the same coin, like love and hate, because you have to love something to hate it. Because if you didn't love it, you wouldn't give a crap.
That's right. The emotion
So
wouldn't be there.
same coin, two different sides, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just kind of looking here at time to make sure. Okay. I find sometimes the last couple of minutes are the hardest because it's okay. What can you get into that you're only going to talk about for a couple of minutes? And
Oh, you and I could go for 3 or 4 hours. I don't think we're going to have a hard time.
couldn't we? Yeah. Oh, who is it?
Oh, you never talk about yourself. What's your most memorable experience with a client?
Oh Lord, I don't know. There's so many.
And just pick one.
I think, oh, I know I have one that was really funny. Okay. With the tarot cards, and we had just moved to Thorold at the time. And this young guy, he came for a reading. And the card that I pulled for him was not procrastinating. But the term I used was, to be politically correct here, poop or get off the pot. And he looked at me and he said, oh, he said, you're right, and I've got to stop selling it.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a dealer, and a drug dealer. I had no idea.
I thought you meant he was one of these guys on the internet selling his whatever.
Yeah, no, he was a drug dealer. And poop or get off the pot. And he was like, yeah, I do. I have to stop smoking that stuff, and I have to stop selling it.
I read for a guy in Montreal that was a drug dealer, and he was William Lyons Mackenzie's great grandson or something, or he's like, yeah, that was my great or whatever grandfather. I'm like, and you're a drug dealer. He's like, yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, that was funny. But there's things like that, you know, honestly, you could write a book.
You really could. And, you know,
really
someday
could.
I get it. And
sometimes it's better than a soap opera.
It truly is, you know?
You know, it is. I think some of my most memorable moments with other psychics, like when doing the fairs, really was the one with Ted Silverhand offering me 5 horses for Melissa.
That's awesome. The only thing that's missing is the goat and 2 chickens.
Exactly. But anyway, our time has come to an end, and this has been fantastic. I have really enjoyed this, Richard. Thank you for being a guest on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
Look forward to seeing you in person.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon. I'll send you a message and we'll see if that works out for when I'm in St. Mary's. So
yeah, that would be good. All right.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we encourage Canadians to pause and remember all that veterans have sacrificed for us, lest we forget.
For me, it all started here.
I do my best work here.
This guy's dangerous from here, and here.